Welcome to the explainer. So you're building an Next.js app. Awesome. But there's this huge question you've got to answer right at the start. How are you going to render it? It sounds technical, but trust me, this choice affects everything. Your site's speed, how users feel about it, and yeah, even your ranking on Google. We're going to break down the 4 main ways to do it.
All right, let's get right into it. When you boil it all down, it comes to one simple question. When and where does the code that makes up your website actually get built? Is it on the server? Is it in the user's browser? The answer to that question? Well, it changes everything. We're talking site speed, SEO, the whole user experience. It's a big deal.
So here's the plan. We're going to frame this as a kind of rendering showdown. We'll meet each contender, break down their pros and cons, and by the end, you'll know exactly which one to back for your project.
All right, let's bring out our first fighter. This is the one that really kicked off the modern interactive web as we know it. For a lot of developers, this is where it all started. Yep, we're talking about the classic client-side rendering, or CSR. And the name says it all, right? All the hard work, all the heavy lifting to build the page, it happens on the client side, inside your user's web browser. Okay, so picture this. The server sends your browser a box, but inside, it's not a finished product. It's basically a giant Lego set with just the instruction manual. Your browser gets this almost empty file and then has to go fetch all the JavaScript bricks and build the entire website from scratch. And you know what that means. It can take a minute, leaving the user staring at that dreaded blank white page on the first load.
So here's the deal with CSR. It's all about a trade-off. Once that initial build is done, it's amazing for super interactive apps. Think complex dashboards where you're clicking around and data is changing without the whole page having to reload. But, and it's a big but, that slow start is a killer. And even worse, Google's web crawlers show up, see a blank page while the JavaScript is loading, and just get confused. Not great for SEO.
So that raises a pretty big question, right? What if you need that fast first impression? What if good SEO is non-negotiable? Well, that exact problem is why our next contender was born. It's a real powerhouse. And that powerhouse is server-side rendering, or SSR. It looks at all of CSR's weaknesses and says, I can fix that. How? By flipping the script and moving all that hard work from the browser back to the server. Let's go back to our analogies. If CSR is a flat-pack IKEA set, SSR is like ordering bespoke, custom-built furniture. The workshop, our server, builds the entire page specifically for that user's request. It arrives at the browser fully assembled, painted, and ready to go. The user sees content almost instantly. No waiting, no building. And the benefits are huge, right? You get that lightning-fast initial load, and when the Google crawler comes knocking, it sees a full, complete page. Perfect for SEO. But there's always a but. That custom furniture workshop is busy. Your server is now working its tail off, building a brand new page for every single visitor. That means more server power, which means higher costs, and, it can be a bit more complicated to manage.
Okay, so what if your content doesn't change every second? What if you need the absolute maximum speed and security possible? Well, for that, we need to introduce a different kind of beast altogether. Let's meet the speedster of the group. This is Static Site Generation, or SSG, and the philosophy here is simple. Why build things on demand when you can build everything, ahead of time? It's all about prep work for maximum speed.
So forget custom orders. This is like walking into a furniture showroom and saying, I'll take that one. It's already built, it's polished, it's sitting right there on the floor. All they have to do is put it on a truck and send it to you, instantly. That's SSG. Every page of your site is pre-built and just sitting on a server, waiting to be delivered at warp speed.
The upside here is just massive. We're talking insane loading speeds, way better security since there's no live database connection or complex server logic, and it's super cheap to host. The catch? Well, it's a big one. What happens when you want to change the price on one of those pieces of furniture? You have to shut down the showroom, bring in the builders, and rebuild the entire floor. For a website, that means if you change one word in a blog post, you have to rebuild and redeploy the entire site. Not great for content that changes a lot. So that's the puzzle, right? How do you get that ridiculous speed of a static site, but also have content that stays fresh? Is it even possible? Well, yes. And that brings us to our final contender, a really clever hybrid that tries to have its cake and eat it too. Meet Incremental Static Regeneration, or ISR. You can think of it as the best of both worlds. It's trying to give you the raw speed of SSG with the freshness of a dynamic site. Let's go back to that furniture showroom. With ISR, imagine there's a little robot builder working in the back room. The showroom floor still has all the pre-built models for instant delivery, but you tell the robot, hey, every 10 minutes, check for new designs and quietly swap out the old models on the floor. So a customer might walk in and see the 10-minute-old model, but their visit triggers the robot to swap it. The next customer gets the brand new one. That's exactly how ISR works. It serves a static page, but can regenerate it in the background after a certain amount of time. What you get is this incredible balance. You have the speed and security of a static site, but your content never gets too stale. The only tiny downside is that one user might see a version of the page that's a few minutes old before it gets updated. For a lot of sites, like news sites, big e-commerce stores, that's a trade-off they're more than willing to make. All right, so we've met all 4 contenders. We've seen their strengths, we've seen their weaknesses. Now for the final verdict. How do you pick a winner? Well, the truth is there is no single best one. It all comes down to what your project actually needs. And this right here, this table, is your decision-making cheat sheet. Seriously, you might want to pause on this one. Look at what you're building. Is it a complex behind-a-login dashboard? SCR is probably your friend. Is it an e-commerce site where every product page needs perfect SEO and real-time stock info? SSR is going to be your powerhouse. Building a simple blog or portfolio where speed is everything? SSG is a no-brainer. And for something in between, like a big news site that needs speed but also frequent updates, ISR is likely your champion. See, the point of all this isn't just about the tech. It's about making a conscious choice. The experience your users have, that first impression, that loading speed, it's not an accident. It's a decision you make. So understanding these strategies gives you the power to build something truly better, faster, and more effective. It's about designing the perfect experience right from that very first click. So which one will you choose?